So we all have that one room. You know the one. It's become a storage room. It's become the craft room that basically is the place that items of infrequent use go to die. So today, on Distracted Dragon Makes, we're going to take what was my junk room and turn it into my new YouTube studio. You can see behind me, we've got it done. So let's go back and look at the steps that take this from storage to studio. And we did it all on a budget, and I think you'll be pretty happy with the results, because I know I am. All right, this is Patrick at Distracted Dragon Makes. Let's get started. So, I was doing this really cool hyperlapse video to show you cleaning out the room. I got halfway into the closet, and there's a leak. And everything's covered in mold and mildew. So I stopped the camera, removed everything from the room, which you can now see is pretty much empty, so yay. Had the plumber out, fixed the leak, repaired the wall, threw out a lot of stuff that was ruined. Here we are. So anyhow, today we're going to be installing a Govee light to replace the ceiling light that is literally rusted from all the moisture that was in this closed room for so long, which I didn't know about. And to make sure that doesn't happen again, we have an Aqara moisture sensor which is going in the closet so that if there is a problem, we'll know about it. So today and tomorrow we got shelving being delivered, so we're going to set that up. Working on an OpenGrid setup for behind where I shoot my YouTube videos. we're going to do a stand for my 3D printers, which will probably be a different video than this. So today we're going to work on these things and get this wall started and get the shelving in, and then we'll have the basic part of the studio done. So let's get going. All right, so we got the place cleaned up. We've got the new light in. We've got the sensor in the closet so that we don't have any more really expensive plumbing bills, hopefully. So I ordered what they claim to be high weight shelving from Amazon. When I got here, it was 1/4 inch MDF shelves, which I don't know about you, but putting books on them is not going to be a good idea. So I went to Home Depot, picked up the heavy duty guys, and I had ordered this really nice contact paper to protect my stuff from the shelves. Obviously I ordered enough for the smaller shelves I had ordered originally, so I'm out. So I'm going to add more once I get everything built. The plan is to, in the next video, is to add LEDs to the studio. So we'll take care of that when we'll have to unpack the shelves and blah, blah, blah. So anyhow, let's get going. We will jump into construction. All right, I wish it was this easy in real life, but here we go. We got our second shelf in. So I'm gonna put some contact paper, and I guess I'll put the last shelf in since I forgot. And this is pretty much done. We're gonna use the bottom for storage. This is going to be books, and then overstock project stuff and collectibles. So I think this has come off really well. So it takes up a lot of unused space. Gives me plenty of floor space to set up cameras and stuff to shoot. And it'll give me a nice backdrop. So now what we're going to do is move to that wall, and we are going to start with the OpenGrid. So originally I was going to use Multiboard, but David over at Hands on Katie's Guild came up with OpenGrid, which I think, in my humble opinion, it looks a lot better. I also like the fact that it's got edge slots so you can align the boards how you want them. And if you're really sharp, which you can't probably see in this light, it actually matches the wall. So this is the PLA Silk Purple from Bamboo Labs. So what we're going to do now is clean off these shelves over here, and we're going to install the OpenGrid. We've got shelving and some other fun twists for today. So let's get going. So here we are. We're at the wall. It's all cleaned up. Got the trusty level to make sure everything stays level. Plus we got the laser level, you know. Never can have too many pants and suspender moments, I guess. So we're using OpenGrid. So I don't know if you can see this. Try to get up close enough. There's the little tabs, and we've got a whole bowl of them. So what these do is help align your boards. So they just snap in, and you don't need to put in 8 or whatever number of slots you're using. It's simply just push in, and a couple alignment ones, and you're good to go. So when you grab your next board, you want to line this up. You want to make sure the screw holes are on the same side so that you're not having countersunk screws standing proud when you're trying to install stuff. And this, with a nice little click, becomes an entire board. So it helps you get your alignment right. It helps keep the boards together. So if there's any flex, it's tied in. They don't really, you can pull them apart if you put some force into them, but that's about it. So now what we're going to do is we're going to use our laser level. And we are going to take our first board. We're going to make sure we have the screw holes on the outside, and we're going to grab our drill. Which helps if you have it with you. So all I'm going to do is I've got a couple screws that we're going to start with. And we're just going to go one in the bottom corner and one at the top. And the reason we're going to do this is so that we can make sure everything stays level when we put it on the wall. So we're going to use our trusty laser level, and we're going to line this up as best we can without getting our fat head in the way. And that looks pretty damn good. So what we're going to do is we're just going to sink these in. And of course it moved, but we are good. So what we're going to do now is just reline this. We can get the stuff out of the way. All right, that right there looks pretty damn perfect. So again, we're just going to take, we're going to put screw into the wall. Then we're going to just go ahead wow, is that out of level? All right, but since we only used one screw in each corner, we can just back this bad boy out. And we will just go with our manual level this time and get it pretty much dead on perfect. Because once the first set is in, and I'm sorry, I know you can't see the level through there. That, my friends, is dead on. So now, I'm going to go ahead and put up the rest of this, and then I will come back and I'll show you how we're going to decorate the walls so that when you're watching me on YouTube, you're not just seeing a blank purple wall. I guess we don't need this anymore. All right, so let's get going. All right, so here you go. So blends into the wall, looks very nice, I think. I left room up here, so if I end up, once I've got the whole wall decorated, if I want to, I can come in and put more here. I also left tabs in the side here. So if I wanted to, put this out, run it maybe behind the door or into the corner, I still have those options. So our next step, and where we're gonna end today, is with shelving. So I went in and created this Infusion 360. It's for pop shelves, or for Funko Pops. So it's got a little lip here to keep your pop in place. So when you put it on the wall, that you snap this into the grid, and you're all set. So these are up on Maker's World if you would like to print some for yourself if you're using the OpenGrid system. I'll have links to everything down in the description, but you can build these yourself, or I have a portal now with Slant 3D, so I'll leave those as well, so you can either get the shelves in blue or black. So they're adding more colors. As more colors become available, I'll add more. So I'll have those portals down there. The great part about that is you can go in, pick as many as you want, click the button, pay for it, and 4 or 5 days later you'll have them on your doorstep. So if you don't want to spend the amount of time that I did getting this all set, you can go ahead and just click the easy button, have them all sent to you. If there's an issue with it, they will refund you on the spot. They will fix it, whatever you need to make it right. So that's one of the reasons I really like working with Slant. It takes a lot of the pressure off me, lets you guys get to the stuff you want, cheap and easy. So if you don't want to spend the time on your printer, you don't have to. If you would like to spend the time on your printer, you can grab the files for free at MakerWorld. It's part of the, David D has it as part of the OpenGrid system, so you'll be able to find them. So I actually like the black, but then I got thinking, I have a lot of translucent material. So I made 2 versions of the same shelf. So one, I used standard Infill, which gives it that kind of striped look, which I thought, you know, it looks nice. But then I realized I went to a lightning Infill, which gives you this clear, I mean, you can kind of almost see through it. So the next steps in our project are going to be, right now I'm going to go ahead and put the shelving up and put the pops and my other decorations up, and then we'll end it for today. But in the next video, what we're going to do is we're going to put in LEDs here. We're going to finish the shelving over here and get that all set with LEDs. So we'll be doing really great. So we'll have, what I want to do is set up the home automation system. So when I walk in, everything turns on at once. I can sit down, record, and no problems. I'll be able to do my editing here. Everything will be a one-stop shop, which will make my process much easier. If you're doing a process the same way, I think this makes sense. If you were doing a lot of making, you can use this wall to organize your tools behind your backdrop, or just to organize any room in your house. So it's amazing. And I'll have the link to Hands-on Katie's organization systems. She's got so many great ideas. This is just one of them. So shout out to her, to David D, and to Blackjack Duck over at Hands-on Katie's Guild, because he created the generator for all these tiles, which I think came out great. I printed all these in Bamboo's Silk PLA purple. So, and I just think they're phenomenal. So I'm going to go ahead, I'll show you how this works. So we're going to take one of these shelves, right, and we're just going to clip it into, make sure I can, yep, you can see it, okay. Clip it right into the shelf, and these are meant to be tight, because the last thing you want is your equipment smashing to the ground because your shelf came loose. So a little bit of pressure right there, but now we can display, would have made more sense to have a Funko Pop, I know. But you can display anything you want on here. Or you can do that. The nice part with the translucence is when you go ahead and the LEDs are involved, you'll get a lot nicer glow through. It won't, with the black, it'll block. Not necessarily a bad thing, but what I've got in mind is kind of an intricate LED setup, so I would like to have the translucent to let stuff go through. So let's go ahead. I'm going to snap in the rest of the shelves that I've printed for this project, and then we're going to wrap it up and look for part 2, which will be LEDs, finishing the room completely, getting LEDs on the shelves so we can actually see stuff. We're going to do some cool stuff with some automations. We're also going to do some cool stuff with how we're going to track inventory for you. If you're a creator, maker, author, whatever you sell, we're going to implement a bunch of cool techniques for how we can track our orders or our inventory easily. So stay tuned for that. Alright, so as you can see, we're all done. I think this came out fantastic. So we've got the wall that we finished, we've got the table, so we can do projects, and we have all the shelving. So look at that, all done. So I'm going to go ahead and finish up editing this. I hope you will like and subscribe if you found this useful. Stay tuned for part 2 and check the links for all the fun stuff in the description. This is Patrick signing off from Distracted Dragon Makes.